Welcome back. Back with us today is Dr. Regan Tilley, functional family physician who runs a direct primary care office in Kansas. She's also working on an online program as well. She's back with us today to talk with us about her work. Welcome back, Dr. Tilley.
Thanks for having me back. I'm so happy to be here, Jessica.
I love that we have decided to focus this series with you on trauma and its response in the body, and how we can work with trauma, big trauma, little trauma, so big things like car accidents or death of a loved one, small things like people that are nitpicky, in our lives, and how that can impact us when it comes to health and wellness. When we're doing that work, and we have that work for ourselves with our own lives, I would love to talk with you about a topic that I know is no longer as controversial as it used to be, which is hereditary trauma.
Yes.
So if you could first define hereditary trauma for our audience.
So it may be not the textbook definition, but it's what I have recognized and realized when I'm going through my studies. So we have proven through studies of epigenetics that we can inherit different almost personality traits or emotions from our family or different experiences. And this is done through some of the studies of genetics on anxiety from folks that were in World War II in concentration camps. I mean, there's multiple different studies going on, but this is one example of how the severe traumas that they experienced were passed down to their generations below them. Great-grandchildren even maintain certain fears that they cannot explain, but it's because it was so profound, it was etched in their genetics. And so that hereditary trauma is one of them. So that is one way that we're going to define it, the scientific.
Yes. So, and I know that they've studied that in animal models, where they're not cerebrally thinking like we are, and you can see behaviorally that those animals, when you experiment on them, and the parents, the children are fearful of situations that the parents were exposed to.
Yes, and I have that. I have inherited hereditary trauma. My mother was pregnant with me and she went through the Big Thompson flood. Almost died. I mean, it was a severe, scary trauma. I have a fear of water that I can't see in and moving water. Put me in a pool, I'm good, but oceans, lakes, rivers, I have anxiety for no actual eyeball witnessed experience, but I was in severe trauma with my mother. And so that's one of those things that's just in me.
Well, and I just want to say, this is real. Like there was I don't really remember do you remember the mouse and cherry blossom study? It was so it was basically where was it the electricity on the feet?
I think so, and they were afraid.
They were afraid. They were in the presence of cherry blossoms, I believe. I'm going to misspeak on this, so I apologize. But I think that they had electricity under their feet, and then the next generation was fearful of cherry blossoms. This is, I believe this is right, or I'm
it's to that effect.
Paraphrasing.
It's
that effect, and that's exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
But when we see it in animal study like that, we take it as fact. When we hear it from another human being, we might say, well, that's what you think.
Right.
But it isn't really. But it is.
Correct.
It is.
Yes. And so the big thing about emotions that people don't understand is they actually do turn on your genetics. So we can turn positive anti-inflammatory processes on in our body when we're in parasympathetic mode, joy, happy, peaceful feelings. When we are angry, scared, all of that, we turn on different genes to create cortisol release. So we are actually reprogramming our genes.
Right.
And what we're learning is that we can do it through emotions and feeling the higher vibration and frequency emotions, we can get more of those good genes turned on. So there's some hereditary trauma or hereditary emotional impact, okay? Another side of this is a little bit more in that ethereal realm, right? A little bit more woo-woo. And that is, how do we inherit trauma? Maybe not directly. Maybe not from our genes. Maybe it's something that your grandmother went through, and this may still be that epigenetics. We might find that someday. That's what it is. But whatever they experienced,
it's like a big T trauma.
Yes.
Grandma had a big T trauma.
Yes.
Like, just throw one out there.
Death of a parent.
That
she was very young,
right? At a young age,
So she's now constantly worried that she's going to be left alone, and then her child has anxiety about being abandoned, right? And then they pass on to the next child that you can never be alone. Like if you're alone, something's bad. So that can be behaviorally transmitted, right?
Yes.
Just through patterns of behavior.
So if the parent is feeling anxious about abandonment, then they can raise a child with that in mind, and then that child can then also have that fear of abandonment, which can get passed on to their next from how they parent and who they are personality wise. So there's that.
And so when I look at folks and we start investigating trauma, we do have some folks that are like, oh, everything's great. I don't have any, but I don't understand. And when you know certain patterns in a body are trauma-based patterns of this, you always get sick around this time of year. Why? Or, you know, whenever it comes time for you to do this big thing, your ankle gives out or your back goes out or my hands don't work anymore, right? So we have a physical manifestation in our body. And you're like, nothing happened to me. But then if we start to investigate, maybe something that happened with your family or in a culture or community around your family member around a certain time. It can still trigger things in your body if you don't know, you may not know it. So this is where we dig really deep. And that's where we do like to go into family systems and learning about what your family's been through. You know, it's really interesting. Oh, yeah, we don't talk about our health in our family. That's a no-go for us. We don't discuss health because that's private. Okay, that's an investigation that we need to dig a little deeper in. You may not get anything out of your family because they aren't ready to open up, but that might be a clue as to there's health trauma that they've dealt with, or there's shame trauma of, you know, maybe an incestuous relationship or a kidnapping. That's my family tree. We have some really strange, interesting things that have gone on, and those things get passed down through shame. And shame is a valid emotion that creates problem in people's bodies. And so these are the things that we do like to investigate when it comes time to explore more deeply the things that we don't understand is going on.
So how do you explain to someone where hereditary trauma it is a little newer, but I know it's really being embraced at this point in time. How do you, but for providers, medical providers, we're learning more about it. But for your patient population, how do you explain? I mean, you explained it just like this. Like, how do you help them walk through that, especially if they say then it's not mine? How do I take care of myself in that space?
Well, some of it comes down to being able to release any ownership of it, recognizing that it's not yours. And sometimes it's the asking, how can I heal it? What is it? What would this situation need to heal to move forward? And so sometimes we can heal for multiple generations. Just by that small act of acknowledging, seeing it, accepting that, you know, that's a valid thing, especially in a family that it's been shamed and hidden. When we can bring it into the light, love on it, accept it, and release it, then it's remarkable the lightness that can come from that.
I just want to focus on the love on it. Did you see me light up a little bit over here when he was like, there's nothing like taking something that is hard for us, that is in that trauma space where we're feeling shame and loving on it appropriately. Getting people to open their eyes to their own little shame space and then just love all over it. How do you help them? What are the words? What would you say to me?
So if we needed to go into a place of shame and sadness and, you know, not feeling enoughness, maybe let's take that as it. So we're going to go in and we're going to pick something that you absolutely adore about yourself. I want you to see that. You're going to just picture that, whether it's your eyes, your curly hair, your smile, whatever it is, a freckle.
I adore myself.
Well, you know.
Well, we all have our
yes, everybody has their thing, right?
But still, I mean, I adore like the love part of me.
And so you're going to go in and you're going to embrace that. And then you're going to basically envision enveloping that piece that's the shame or the fear or the sadness or whatever it is. You're going to envelop that in love.
Doing it right now.
Right? And so you're just going to envision this overflowing, abundant feeling of love. You're going to embody that too, because you're going to feel what it feels like in your heart. Then you're going to experience what it feels like in your body. Like, what does your body feel when you feel completely safe and relaxed? And you know that you are 100% held. This is going back to that place in your life where you were the absolute most loved, safe, accepted place. I can picture that with my grandfather sitting on his lap. I know that feeling. What you're going to do is you're going to bring that inside. You're going to bring that into your body. You're going to wrap that piece of hurt, of shame, of fear. You're going to wrap it in there and you're going to just let it absorb into this love. And you're going to lift it up into the love. so that it doesn't have to sit in the dark anymore. Okay, and then you're going to thank it for being there, for the experience that it gave you in your life, and it helped to create and form you as you are. And then you're going to say, you've done your job, you can go on.
Oh, you've done your job, you can go on.
Yeah.
You know what I love about this process is, and thank you, that was lovely. I'm like,
Yes.
oh, let me go find a little thing here in my body and do that, and
Yeah.
thanking it and have it go on, is that you can really just be present in yourself in a moment.
Yeah.
And just feel that love, and you don't have to spend time thinking about what that little piece of you, that trauma, that shame, whatever it is. It's just the feeling. The feeling of shame itself, doesn't matter where it came from, and you can love all over it and then release it.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. This
You're
was
very
a
welcome.
great last episode with you, to have a little exercise where I got I got to get a little Dr. Tilley experience here. Thank you so much.
Of course, you're very welcome.
So I hope that you come back and join us another time.
I would love to. I think it'd be a fantastic idea.
I would love for you to come back. Will you please let everyone know what you're working on right now and how they can find you?
Yes. So I run a group coaching program specifically for middle-aged women who are high achievers that want to really get to the root of what's going on in their life. So somebody who maybe has a couple pounds to lose, or maybe more than that, but they're stuck. There's something going on. And so we heal that body, mind, spirit, so that we can relieve the physical weight as we relieve the emotional and spiritual weight. So that's my passion project right now.
That's great. And that's
The Quantum Metabolic Reset.
quantummetabolicreset.com.
Yes, that's how you can find it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for coming.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Always my pleasure. Thank you for watching. Come back after these messages for our next guest.